Okay, so oops, sort of give you a sneak peek of something that's pretty cool. But before much ago, oops, did I mute this? Yeah, I didn't unmute this site. Okay, so I think we should be good to start. So we're going to start. Yeah, I guess I'm going to restart. Hold on, what else? Just make sure people who join late can still come in. Oops, yeah, there you go. Okay, so yeah, I think we can start now. So what is going on, everybody? Crypto Ed here. Welcome to Crypto Happy Hour. We meet on the fourth Wednesday of each month. Thank you for joining us today. We are a gathering of multiple groups. So we have Vancouver Crypto Network, 1 Hour Investing, people who came out to CoinFest back in November last year. So we have a lot of people, and then we have more who are watching through like a YouTube and Facebook group. So welcome everybody for joining us. And yeah, I mean, this is a pretty important week in the crypto space. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everybody else so that we don't get too much background noise. But so yeah, so before we start, I just want to just thank everyone for joining us. And yeah, crypto space is crazy, and I do want to thank you all for taking this time out to invest in yourself, to learn more about the crypto space, because there's just a lot of people who are in the crypto space. They don't know anything, and they'll jump into different things, and then they end up getting wrecked, right? So it's always important for us to learn, right, as much as you can before you want to commit anything. So our schedule for today is that we do want to go over a bit of some big major news, and then we can have our fireside chat with William Sui, who's been doing a lot of mining at home. So it's going to be pretty cool to hear about how mining can still be profitable, even though people say that mining is all dominated by big miners, but before we jump into this, I do want to make it clear, stress that this gathering, and also this Zoom meeting, this is just a gathering of people who love crypto. We are not financial advisors. We're not financial professionals. Anything we share should not be considered as financial advice, right? If you want to get into crypto, do your own research and know your risk, right? Speak with a professional, professional advisor if you need professional advice. So yeah, it's your own fault if you don't do your research. It's your own fault if you get wrecked. So yeah, so let's start off with major headlines. So to start off, today, right, and also this week alone, right, crypto's been the whole crypto Bitcoin market, right? It's been in an extreme fear territory. If you have been following the price of Bitcoin, right, you know that we did fall under 40K. For a while, we've been just for this whole April, right? Let me all these ads, but for most of April, right, we've been at around 40 to 50K range, right? But we've been on this downward channel. Many people thought that, this is not that big of a problem, as long as we're in this big ascending trend. But pretty recently, we did fall below this floor. Does it mean anything? It could, but it could mean nothing either. So, but yeah, so right now I'm where Bitcoin is headed is still uncertain. There are a lot of fears, but there's also a lot of optimism too, right? Where Bitcoin could head, where it could bounce off any of these points, or it could fall further. We won't know until time will tell. And we are hearing narratives of good and bad on social media. And what I guess our quick rapid fire session is we're just going to show you some of the biggest news stories, and it's up to you guys to decide how you what you want to do with this information and how you want to play. So by looking at the market sentiment, there's a lot of fear right now because we did fall through like that spot. But the market sentiment for the equities market is pretty fearful in general too, right? And then, but today we did see that we did get a good day. You can see that the equities has a modestly green day, right? We also have news like probably may have maybe a word that Elon Musk may be buying Twitter. Right. We were chatting a bit beforehand, but but some more extra news about how like Elon Musk may be fined $1 billion if he could not secure financing. Right. So, and then we also have news like such as Brazil, their Senate approved Bitcoin law. So it does not make Bitcoin legal tender in Brazil, but they're starting to regulate Bitcoin and crypto, which is one step closer to legitimacy. Like if they are regulating, if they are planning on taxing crypto, that means they plan to they will eventually see it as like a legal tender one day, right? So this is pretty good news. I'll say this is pretty good news. You also have a purpose ETF in Canada, right? They're adding more, so that's pretty big news. Other news, some charting, right? This is from Glassnode. It's a pretty good analytics platform, right? They have an indicator called NVT. The key thing is whenever you see a cross, right, where the green crosses over the red, right, line, right, usually like there's like a 50-50 chance of like a run up. So you can see like the first time it happened, nothing really happened, right? But the second time it happened, there was a run up, right? And then crossing here, nothing. Crossing here, I mean, it started going up, but then COVID happened, right? So it came down. It was a black swan event, but with this crossing, right, this run up happened, and now we are seeing another crossing right here, right about here. Could this result in a run up? Well, time will tell, right? But I'm pretty hopeful about seeing like one indicator showing, and there are more indicators that are showing that Bitcoin could be ready for a big run up, right? And this is another thing that I look at too. Like, it doesn't really matter the price of Bitcoin. Whenever I look at like global adoption, we're still early in the crypto space. You can see that we're just right here. Like only like less than like 5% of the world population are in Bitcoin right now. Like there's still a whole 95% people who are still like eager to get in. And once they get in, there's gonna be a lot of adoption, and there's gonna be a lot of application, and potentially like the value will go up. Right. Other positive news, you have like big figures like Cathie Wood, right? She thinks that Bitcoin could be headed to 1 million. How soon? Well, we won't know, but she does think that there's a lot of use, a lot of potential, right? And then other stuff, you have like world's first Bitcoin Go exchange product. So Switzerland, they are doing a fund, right? So they call this an ETP instead of ETF. So this is pretty cool. And lastly, I think this is almost the last slide. Yeah, lastly, I thought this was pretty cool to look at, right? To see like a comparison between gold, Bitcoin, and fiat currency, right? And you can see that on all these levels, right? Bitcoin has proven to be like the best of the two, right? The only thing they lack is like a history, right? Where gold has been around for like thousands of years. The US dollar fiat has been around only for like 150 years, right? And they've been 100 years in the sun, right? But Bitcoin, right? Like it's durable, you can divide it, right? It's fungible, it's portable, right? And we are seeing like some use cases in like the Russian-Ukraine conflict, where a lot of refugees, they are like living in like refugee camps, right? They tried to get the money from the bank before fleeing, except the bank got blown up by like a Russian artillery shell, right? So they have no money, and the only thing they have it's just like a Bitcoin wallet. And with the Bitcoin they have, right, they're able to get like any like supplies and needs right while they're inside the refugee camp. So we are seeing more and more use cases for Bitcoin, and this is something I'm very proud of, right? So yeah, so this is the cool thing about it. And lastly, yeah, I have this infographic that I put together a while ago. It shows like different ways to earn crypto. Today, I am excited to introduce you to Will Shuey, who has been earning crypto through mining right here. So, and before I have him talk on the stage, he shared with me this picture right here, where you can recognize there's a lot of solar panels right here, and like it's very smart with what he's doing, because if you're running a mining operation, right, why pay like the electric company if you can get subsidized, right, from where you live? Because mining, like with mining, right, electricity is the biggest expense. If you can get electricity for free, right, why not do it? And you can, and by doing so, I bet he can like tell everyone that all of his mined Bitcoin, or at least most of it, right, would be green. And because that's one of the biggest criticisms people have. Like a lot of people have been like criticizing about Bitcoin, about how like, oh, crypto is so polluting. Well, I'm just proud to see that my buddy, well, like he's showing the world that it doesn't have to be all polluting. You can have green crypto, and I could picture like in like a few years, like I could picture him like on stage telling people how like this setup is like the beginning of the whirlpool. So yeah, so without much ado, Will, you have the stage. Like, but so yeah, so are you able to unmute yourself? So cool, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like what do you want me to talk about? Like how I got started, or
yeah, so maybe tell us a bit about how you get started. I mean, like I mean, mining is like I know that mining. A lot of people think that like you have to be like a computer nerd to do it. Like, do you want to tell people like whether like you have like a computer background? Did you like?
So I have been working in a computer shop as a repair guy for more than almost 10 years. So I basically have all the proper knowledge on how to do it already. So I got a huge head start there. And I started last year, about 14 months ago, back in February. So like even at that time, it was a little bit of a shortage on the silicone and getting cards already, right? So it was from the work that I was doing before. I still have my hookups to get cards and all that. So yeah, like I was just starting off with just 4 cards, RTX 3070s, and just start mining Ethereum that way. And just one by one, I just start adding a few more cards, and few more cards, and now I'm up to what, about 60 of them, and 7 ASICs. So I'm consuming about what, 17,000, 18,000 watts of energy all the time, every hour.
Wow, like so like for those who don't know, like who don't pay who don't pay like that high of a utility bill where they live, like how much are you paying? Like you say 17,000 watts per hour, like how much does that translate to like in monthly electric bills? So,
we're paying close to $2,000 in Canadian now.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
$2,000 a month, right?
Around there. And with the new solar stuff that I'm putting in, so I'm putting in 12,000 watts of solar panels. Like I already have 2,000 watts online, and I'm adding 10K of it right now. So like that picture that we just shared, that was me on my first day lifting them up onto the roof, right? Wow. And that's expecting to save me around $300 a month.
Okay.
In power costs from hydro. So like here we are in BC, Canada. We have a pretty low rate of power energy bills. So right now we're paying 14 cents Canadian kilowatt. So that's just over 10 cents US. Like most of our guys here in Canada, or are they all over?
We have one of our meetup groups is in Canada, the Vancouver network, and then we have like some from all over the world.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess I'm pretty lucky to be in BC, where like worldwide, like we're pretty cheap, and even in Canada, we're one of the cheaper ones here. So even as profitability drops, like I can still hang on for longer than most guys. And even if it becomes unprofitable or break even for everyone else in DC, with my solar panels, I'm still have a slight edge than everyone else.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, like the boxes behind you, are they all like miners or?
Oh no, that's just home stuff.
Oh,
yeah, we're just making use of space, right? It's just clothing and whatever stuff that's in there. But yeah, like I got like a whole garage full of like parts and like boxes and stuff. Like we have like a lot of like risers for the GPUs, and then lots of extra wires, lots of extra power supplies, and all that stuff. So always ready for the next batch of cheap GPUs if I can find a deal.
Wow. And like in total, like how much like have you like put into like I guess all your equipment, like all this equipment?
Oh, probably last check it was around 150K in
150
Canadian dollars.
Yeah, but you started off with just like four
GPUs,
four GPUs, and then like you basically took your earnings and you bought more GPUs.
Yeah, and borrow more, and basically like I don't sell my crypto, or at least in the last year or so, right? So whatever earnings I make, I deposit it onto DeFi and just borrow against it if I need any cash to pay for expenses or power bills or fund new parts and gear and stuff.
Okay, so DeFi, I mean, it does seem like a rather risky move that you are using DeFi to borrow, but I'm guessing you make sure that you have good margins and you watch like you watch your margins every day.
Yeah, I watch it like a hawk, but like I try to borrow almost as much as I could.
Yeah, but I know that I'm like this is just disclaimer that I'm like borrowing. It's not for everybody. Yeah. I know some people they borrow and like every time they go out, like we'll be having a drink and then like they'll either always be on the phone like on AVAX just checking their like health. So like if that's the lifestyle you like, you want to like check to make sure that you're always above like 1.0 health. You can film it as your own funeral, but if you want to like have that like you don't want to be always that worried, that stressed out. Like it's not for everybody, but I mean I think you found like a good balance. I think, but yeah, it is a pretty smart move. I know that I'm like just the whole idea of doing that because a lot of our bigger miners like Hot Egg and all these other miners, right? They're not selling the crypto. I mean,
yeah, they're not selling either.
Only one that does is like F2 pool. That's the only one they do. F2. That's the only miner that sells the pools, but they only sell like right before big events just to manipulate.
Okay. So they try to time it.
Yeah, they time it like right before Bitcoin Miami, right? If you follow crypto prices and such, right before Bitcoin Miami, like the price of Bitcoin dropped just because one wallet unloaded a lot, and it was the F2 pool.
Okay.
But I mean like, I'm not going to go too deep into it. I know that there's a lot of people who might not be too familiar with like the who's who in the space. So but speaking of which, I'm just going to quickly launch like a crypto poll, right, just to see like where everybody is at. So feel free to answer the survey like your crypto experience. But continue on. So yeah, I mean like it's a pretty like nice smart play for you to like to keep growing, like take the earning and compound that, and I guess another benefit for like just with another benefit for using like doing DeFi is they like basically like you don't get taxed for it.
Yeah, try to stay away from the government's eyes as much as possible.
Yeah, because I know that in the ISO, I think in accounting in the CRA or IRS in the US, right, their eyes, right, if you sell, that's a taxable event.
Yeah, but I borrow.
You borrow, you can't. I mean, like the same way how I think like with what's happening with Tesla, if I'm not Tesla, but Elon Musk buying Twitter, right? I heard that he's using a massive loan to like $4 billion loan, and that's like a tax-free thing. And I also see a lot of people complain about how he's not paying taxes on it, and I mean, that's how it is, right? If you
That's
borrow,
how the world is structured, right?
you shouldn't be taxed, right? Imagine like if you're tight on cash, you take out a payday loan and they tax you on that loan.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like you can be so screwed. I mean, that I would say that's very unfair. Like you need the money to pay for your bills, and all of a sudden the government just takes a chunk of your loan. and,
Yeah.
and so I think I'm like, and yeah, I mean, like using loans as like equity, I think it's a risky, but also it could go far. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then
Calculated risk.
yeah, just know your risks, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and I see we have a number of people who are pretty new in the space. So just to remind everybody, what we share is not financial advice. so so
Very
like at least like try to put in around like 100 hours. I'll say that my rule of thumb, like with anything I go into, right? I try to put in like 50 to 100 hours of research before I really put any money into it. I mean, even with that 100 hours, it may not even be enough. Like if you do like 100 hours, but you are better. But at least with 100 hours, you are better off than like the degen with like only like 2 hours of research, right? Or 30 minutes of research just by listening to some guy on YouTube. They get screwed. So I mean, yeah, I mean, like it's not best practice, but it's common sense, right? That you should do some research. And how about in terms of research wise, right? How much time have you done? Like, how much research have you done before, like, pulling the trigger and buying your first GPU?
Actually, not much. And
But I mean,
unfortunately,
like crypto in general, like I mean, you've been following it. You probably
yeah, I've been following for a long time. I actually believe in the technology for a long time, and I haven't really put too much money into crypto until like a few years ago.
Yeah.
And by the time I decided that I should start mining, right, I was looking at, okay, why do I want to jump like basically like all in last year is when I start seeing all the institutions start piling in money in there, and like all these $1 billion funds and everything starts flowing in. It's like, okay, this is not going to zero anymore. And looking at how all the governments are doing all these crazy things to print more money and freezing bank accounts, and how like the entire nation of Russia is like assets can be frozen by a foreign entity. It's like, what the hell is going on, right? So like right now, like I have a gross mistrust of governments, and like anything that I earn or anything that I want to save in value, right? Like I'm putting in crypto. And with mining, it's basically me not just investing in crypto per se, but also in just raw computing power, which is almost like a commodity these days, and energy, because I'm also doing solar and other forms of like power generation and storage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like on the topic of like, you mentioned touch a bit about the topic of like government and trust and currency. I mean, like right. I know that a lot of people who are into crypto, right, they get into crypto not just because it's for speculative reason, but because there's a general lack of trust in the government, a general lack of trust in fiat currency. Like just the other day, I was like I saw this article about how they said I can't remember full number figures, but they said that since like 2020, since COVID started, 80% of the US currency.
Yeah.
Like 80% of, so imagine like if the global, you have this pie that shows like all the US dollars in the world, 80% of it was printed in the last 2 years.
Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I mean, like if people are trying to say that US is a safe asset, I mean, like it's printed. It just did like a 5x, like meaning in theory, like your purchasing power just got like shrunk by I think 80% right there, right? And this does not include like how much that was printed since the dollar came off the gold standard, right?
And they try to blame it on Putin.
Yeah, they try to blame Putin, and I think in Canada,
I think that's people that stupid. It looks like they are.
In Canada, I don't know how bad it is, but there was just some other like YouTube video or some social media post about how there was like a member of parliament, member of parliament like tried to ask like the finance chair about how much was printed in Canada.
I saw that.
And the deputy, I think the finance chair or the deputy prime minister, she kept dodging the question, and then the MP kept asking like, "I'm just asking for a number, like just give me a number, like how much was it?" We won't tell you. We were doing what we can to help. So I mean, like it
Same
just
bullshit that Justin Trudeau is giving us.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. Like we just don't know. Like for most common people, we don't know, and the government just doing what they are to just hide this stuff. And there's more reasons for us, right? To like, if you want to protect your wealth, you want to create generational wealth, right? You want to pass something off to your next, to your kids or your kids, right? You have to start building. Like you can't just trust that the government will take care of you. The government will not take care of you.
That would be the biggest joke.
Yeah, they can't even take care of themselves. If you think about it, like, of all this printing, it's not going to go anywhere. And
just trying to take their money and stuff into their own pocket somehow.
Yeah, either their own pocket or they're just mismanaging it, and eventually, like someone else, like another country, will eventually take over. Like we've seen it, like through history. What was that? Was that YouTube? Ray Dalio. He recently came up with like launched this video on YouTube like a couple months ago about how empires or how countries like he calls it the changing of power. So like every 100-year or 200-year, you're gonna have like a reshuffling of like rankings of countries. Like before the US was at the top, like Britain, UK was at the top, right? And before them was actually the Dutch Empire, and before that was the Spanish Empire. So we do see that like history has shown that like you're gonna have like nations, like countries, empires, like shuffling at the top, and as a return, right, and in addition, right, their currency gets shuffled around too. So there's no knowing that the US dollar, right, or the fiat currency we have, right, will remain at the top. Some are saying that the next reserve currency could be Bitcoin. It could be Bitcoin, and we are seeing a bit of that. Like notice that like with Russia, right, they said that they're willing to accept Bitcoin as payment for oil.
Yeah, they still have crap load of gold in their own vault and everything too.
Yeah,
to stabilize their own currency.
But yeah, so I mean, it's pretty good on you to be saving, to be like accumulating crypto through mining, and this is, and I guess I'm like, do you have any further I guess some advice for anybody who wants to get started on what they must do, or anything that they should consider if they want to get started?
Well, just keep learning and keep trying to do your own research and just try stuff, right? Like a lot of people with gaming machines or anything like that, or even old computers with old graphics card, just throw it onto a mining pool and try something, right? And if you'd like to keep that coin, keep it. If not, we can always trade it to Bitcoin and save it that way.
Yeah, I mean there's no such thing as too small to get started.
Yeah.
And you can, as long as you have a computer, you have a GPU, right? You can get started. I'm curious. With the whole talk, you mentioned a bit earlier that you were mining Ethereum right now, right? So are you worried about Ethereum switching to I know they now call ETH 2.0, but
because you're late again.
Proof of stake. Are you worried that what's going to happen to all your 150K worth of mining equipment once they switch to ETH 2.0?
Well, I'll keep mining until the very last second, right? Because it's still there, and with the same GPUs, I can start mining Ethereum Classic, or I actually start doing some of it on my older GPUs already. Yeah. And there's tons of other coins to mine. So, for I don't know, probably once they actually switch over, maybe for a few months or a year or possibly longer, it might become unprofitable or less profitable to mine. But I'll keep running them, especially because I do have some solar power now in my setup. I'm gonna be ahead of a lot of people out there. Even if a lot of people have to turn off their rigs to not lose money, I can still keep my rigs on.
Yeah, I mean, you're making, yeah, I mean, like your solar panel is getting you like 12 kilowatts, right? Oh no, 12,000 kilowatts
Yeah,
of
12,
power.
12, 12 kilowatts. Yeah.
Okay, 12 kilowatts, and compared versus the 17 kilowatts that's draining, right?
Yeah. Like I could like accounting for like the cloud and nighttime and all that stuff. Like it should help me offset maybe around 20% of my costs.
Oh,
Well, I
20%.
basically have a 20% edge over everyone else in BC.
That's pretty good. I mean, like 20% that's pretty significant. Like
Mhm.
it will help you at it could potentially like help you play at the same level playing field as like the bigger miners out there that who have economy of scale, but they don't have like that solar setup.
Yeah, because solar is a pretty significant investment too.
Yeah.
But because I was able to DIY most of it, like like I'm not paying like the same retail dollars to do the installation.
Yeah, you're not paying some electrician. Like you got yourself
Do it
like
all by myself.
yeah, you're doing like basically you got your own like scissor lift, right? And
Yeah,
then
I
that
had to
follow it up.
go rent it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, especially for me. Like I'm just 110 pounds, trying to lift something that's like 50
Yeah,
pounds each. It
yeah,
it was nuts.
yeah. And like how much of your roof are you using? Like is like after you're installing, like is the whole roof gonna be all cover or
Once this is done, I'm gonna cover about half of it already.
oh
So
so
that'll be around 12 kilowatt. And that's like this is like the south side. So it's the preferred side to get the maximum sun, right?
oh I see.
And if I do want to expand it further, I will take over the other side, but it's facing the wrong side.
Yeah.
Maybe I can still get another, I don't know, like 5 kilowatt out of it or something, even if I put in like full of panels and everything. So I have to do some more calculations and estimations to see if it'll be worth doing that or not.
Yeah. Or you can just put them in your garden. You don't have to like put them on your roof.
Yeah, lots of shadows and all that stuff. So roof
Oh,
is probably still going to be the best bet, even if it's on the wrong side.
I see. That's yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean like it's gonna give you for sure it's gonna give you a huge edge over like everybody else who's in this space. And yeah, I mean like I could picture that I'm like after like ETH 2.0 is over, like I know that I'm Cardano, not Cardano, but KDA, right? Cardano.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, the one
right?
ASIC, right?
They also like proof of work, right? I know that's pretty popular. For everyone else watching, do your own research. As I say, just because I mentioned a coin doesn't mean it's popular. It's going to be like going to the moon. It's just like, I'm just a guy on YouTube, right? And I heard it from another guy on YouTube. So do your own research. But they are pretty popular. I heard that like they have a yeah. There's a lot of talks about it. You may want to do some research to see like if they may be like a feasible like proof of work mining coin to go after. So so where to next for you like in terms of your mining journey? I mean like do you see yourself like expanding to like maybe like your neighbors and say, hey, I'll install some solar panels, I'll give you like 20% of the power.
Like right now, like I have 125 amp service in my main breaker, and
Yeah.
I've actually talked to an electrician and BC Hydro already, and this place has the potential to go up to 200 amps, so I could potentially double my capacity and then some. So that's probably going to be the next part. And if I were to go any bigger, I would have to start buying like shipping containers and
Wow.
find places to host them and all that.
And then I mean I hold the miners or hold
Both the power and the miners. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna try to max out my home first.
Yeah, like how much more space do you have in your home? I mean, like,
It's more to deal with heat, like
oh
with room. Yeah, like it's like imagine like you have in the winter, right? You have a space heater about like 1500 watts, right?
yeah,
I have more than 10 times that much running constantly,
Ow.
even in the summer.
Wow,
Try to
yeah,
imagine how much heat I have to dissipate into the outside, right?
yeah, like it's your ventilation. I'm
Lots of fans,
not the
lots
best.
and lots of fans.
Oh, guess you may have to like may have to install like a few more fans, like
Oh yeah.
fans and such.
like I'm getting these like huge like 20-inch fans that are like this size, and then like just blowing it all over the place. And in the garage, like I have dedicated exhaust fans that are mounted right in the wall, so that the exhaust air like right outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I do too many, like it might get too noisy, and neighbors might start complaining.
Oh,
Yeah. Good for he's curious about what I'm doing too, so he's not against crypto.
okay.
I'm not that much anyways.
Yeah, maybe eventually you may convince your neighbor and to get into crypto too.
I start doing it together, right?
Yeah, I mean that would be really cool. Like, if like you have more people who around you like getting into crypto.
Yeah, I got him into Ethereum and Dogecoin.
Those going, yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, so I know that I know that you have another like meeting presentation at 8 o'clock. I'm just wanted to open up to see anybody. And you guys have any questions for Will before he goes?
Yeah, I saw Travis comment about like routing heat to the neighbors. That's not a bad idea at all, especially in the winter, right? Yeah, I got tons of heat to give out. So yeah, that's something that we can negotiate.
Yeah, you can give a lot of heat. I mean, in
Yeah.
theory, it could probably like. I think it'd be cool one day, like if cities. I'm not.
Or
That's the case with Vancouver.
North Vancouver, North Vancouver or West Vancouver have actually started doing something like that.
They have like is it geothermal or something? I don't know.
Actual mining rigs, helping to like do it in a centralized manner.
Okay, yeah.
The city hall, and then they just spread heat that way, or at least for the city hall or something.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty smart. But
North Van, yeah, like
yeah, except I think it's doing it through a third party. I don't think they are the ones doing it.
But probably not directly, but yeah, like it's not their expertise, right? It's better to find a contractor and hold them accountable if they screw it up, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I gotta run, guys.
Okay. Well, thanks for dropping in and like sharing about your mining adventure. Well, yeah, and yeah, I'm going to now see open up the floor to see how anybody else wants to share like what they're doing in crypto. But yeah, thanks for joining us, Will.
Okay, thank you guys. Talk to you guys next time. Bye.
I'll see you, Will. And then I'm going to stop the live stream as that's the end of our official